Criminal sentencing is a really, really big subject, and a lot of Crown Court judges describe it as part art, part science. It is a balancing act because a trial judge has heard all of the facts and will have in their own mind a degree of severity for any individual offence. Into the sentencing process comes a probation report, a pre-sentence report on what would be the most suitable sentence for any particular offence and offender, and then of course the defence counsel has the opportunity to mitigate on behalf of the offender. So it is a complicated process. Now, Tony Blair did amend the criminal law quite significantly, and for anybody who thinks he was an over-liberal approach to criminal law would be very wrong. I was practicing criminal law at the time, and in fact a lot of fundamental rights were dismantled under the early years of the Tony Blair regime. So to suggest that they were soft on crime would actually be wrong. The criminal process became harder for criminals under that Labour government. So we come to the release of prisoners at the fixed point halfway through their sentences. This was a 2008 piece of legislation. The London Bridge attacker the other day was originally sentenced by the trial judge to an indeterminate sentence. So that's a sentence which the trial judge will say, well, a minimum term should be applied, but then he can't be released after the minimum term until the parole board have deemed them to be fit for release. And then when they are released, they're released under licence conditions, a bit like a murderer is. So the point I want to make really is that all the calls and a rush to judgment, we have to be realistic here, and we have to not adopt an approach that says it's Labour's fault or the Tories' fault. Why haven't you changed it? We've got 50 jihadis in prison at the moment. Some of them are on life sentences and aren't going to come out, and those would be like the 21/7 bombers, the ones who actually killed people. The others are conspirators. They do acts preparatory to terrorism. They look up how to make a bomb, how to, and all the preparatory acts for terrorism, even funding terrorism. And some of their offending is really, really serious and a very genuine attempts to commit atrocities in this country and abroad. So those sentences do reflect the severity of the crime. But under this automatic release system, they will be coming out. Well, there are 50 of them. You can't retrospectively change the law. So of the 50, take away, say, 15 who are lifers. Of the others, they're all going to come out under that regime. No change in law now will be retrospective in its effect to their sentences. So we have got a problem. Resources do need to be put into probation services. Resources do need to be put into rehabilitation. But the point I'd like to make is that even if they all did serve their full sentences, and if they didn't come out at the halfway mark, so they came out at 16 years, not 8, that doesn't make them less radicalised when they come out. In many cases, because of the people they've been in communion with in prisons, they can actually be more radicalised when they come out. And once they've served their sentence, they've served their sentence. Who's there to look after them? As I said, we can't change the law backwards. So yeah, we've got a problem with returning jihadis. The government's really got to get on top of that and find ways to convict them of a terrorist offence so they can be contained and be under surveillance when they return to the UK. But those currently serving, we can do nothing more than bolster up the services for when they leave. Reoffending rates generally are very high anyway. Jihadis always attract a lot of publicity. It's always horrendous the way they attack people, and I wouldn't stand aside from that. Reoffending rates are high anyway. So we do have a big problem with post-release prisoners attacking the hate preachers, going for them, making sure we target them so that they cannot disseminate their information. That is something the Muslim societies have to take a hold of.